In what could be an attempt to distract, the president is stirring up a new feud with Google, accusing them, on Twitter of course, of rigging search results so that all the news stories that show up about him are negative. According to Google, this is not a real thing at all. Here's President Trump's chief economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, who may not have heard about this when a reporter asked him about the president's tweet, which said the situation, quote, will be addressed.
Does the president believe, or does the administration feel, that there needs to be some form of regulation for Google, or what exactly was the president referring to?
We'll let you know. We're taking a look at it. We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. This would not be the first time that President Trump caught his advisors off guard with a tweet. Far from it. Our chief White House correspondent John Roberts is live there. It feels like another one. Well, you tell me, what is this?
Well, it's one of those things that happens almost every day where the president gets up, he doesn't like the coverage, and so he says something about it. He did address this very briefly in that Oval Office pool spray along with the president of FIFA. I just have a quick little note on it that says Google, etc., treading on troubled territory. We'll get more when we get the play out of that. But the president basically thinking that Google is involved in a conspiracy to put bad news about him high on its Google search engine and to suppress the voices of conservative media outlets that might be more favorable to him. The president somehow going to Twitter twice with the same lengthy complaints this morning saying, quote, Google search results for Trump news shows only the viewing reporting of fake news media. In other words, they have it rigged for me and others so that almost all stories and news is bad. Fake CNN is prominent. Republican/conservative and fair media is shut out. Illegal, question mark. 96% of results on Trump news are from national left-wing media. Very dangerous. Google and others are suppressing voices of conservatives and hiding information in news that is good. They are controlling what we can and cannot see. This is a very serious situation, will be addressed. Now, the White House did not say how this will be addressed, but if you do a Google search, and we did one within the last hour, currently what you're getting is mostly a lot of stories about President Trump and these new accusations about Google's. You get a lot of stories about his complaints there. You also get those stories on why Trump can't perform his job. Has he been a Russian asset since 1987? Stories about his marriage to Melania and other ones that you would probably put in the negative category. Google denies any political motivation or agenda in its search results. Listen to this Google spokesperson here.
Search is not used to set a political agenda, and we don't bias our results towards any political ideology. Every year, we issue hundreds of improvements to our algorithms to ensure that they surface high-quality content in response to users' queries.
Got to take Google at its word here, because the only thing more closely guarded than the secret formula for Coca-Cola is the Google search algorithm, Shep, but that's what both sides are saying this afternoon.
KFC original recipe, too. You know,
that too, yes.
You know, Maggie Haberman and others, many others report the president doesn't even use a computer. I mean, how does he know?
Yeah, well, he gets all the reports every day. What's interesting is the president is still one of those people who quaintly read the newspaper every day. I remember delivering a bundle of newspapers to Sean Spicer that were lying on the floor outside his office one day. I said, why are you reading the newspaper? He said, because the president reads the newspaper, and I need to know, as the press secretary, how he is looking at the news, so I need to read the newspaper as well. So he says, did you see that story on page A3? I know what he's talking about. But as to how he sees all these Google results, I assume that they're probably passed along to him from his social media guru, Dan Scavino, and others.
A lot of talk around there about trade today, John.
Yeah, and really the White House is putting pressure on two fronts here. First of all, on Canada. By boxing Canada out of the deal with Mexico, the president has now put pressure on Canada to come to the table to either sign on to this deal or face tariffs against its automobiles of some 25%. Chrystia Freeland, who is the Minister for Foreign Affairs in Canada, is down visiting the U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer today. So the president trying to get Canada on board. The second part of this is a real shot across China's bow, because this new agreement between the United States and Mexico on rules of origin for car parts means that 75% of all of the components that are put into a car have to be made in either the United States or Mexico. China had been doing a big business in funneling its cheaper car parts through Mexico that were getting into these vehicles, but now 75% of those parts have to be made in either the United States or Mexico. That's definitely going to cut back on business that China has been doing. Here's what Larry Kudlow said about it earlier this morning.
We don't really want China to come on and encroach. They won't let us in their place, so we're going to have to protect our own workers, and on and on and on. I mean, I just think it's a very pro-growth. It shows you two sides with goodwill can sit down and work out what is essentially a free trade deal, free trade, fair trade, and get it going.
All right, so here's what here's the game that the White House is up to. They're right now shelving talks about trade with China, and the president is saying no reason to have them. He doesn't think they're going to go anywhere. Meantime, he cuts a trade deal with Mexico. He hopes to cut a trade deal with Canada. He hopes to cut a trade deal with the European Union, and he hopes to cut a trade deal with Japan to really kind of more level out the playing field, and then go to China and say, everybody else is playing ball with us. You better do it too. Shep?
John Roberts at the White House, where the president has just met with the FIFA representative, and I'm told he talked about Google. So we're about to have one of those playback situations from the White House in just a matter of seconds. We'll let you hear it in its entirety.
Well, thank you very much. We very much appreciate the fact that we have won a very important event, the World Cup in 2026. And we'll be hosting it along with Mexico and Canada. And it's a very special event. I think it's probably certainly one of the biggest and maybe the biggest sporting event in the world. And soccer's come such a long way. Soccer is a game, I guess you call it football. Yeah. But over here, maybe at some point they'll change the name. I'm not sure.
Let's see.
But we'll see.
We can negotiate that.
It's working very well either way. But I just want to thank Gianni Infantino for being here. He's the president of FIFA and a highly respected man. In fact, when my son heard he was going to be here, he said, Dad, I'd like to meet him. So you're pretty famous, right?
Yeah.
Pretty important and pretty famous. He likes, my son Barron loves soccer. And soccer has to be one of the fastest growing sports in the world.